G4TV. It didn't even last a whole calendar year. It had low viewership across the board, little to no interest in the gaming community, and overall, just an unforgettable blemish in the portfolio of Comcast Spectacor. You know the story, you know what the beginning of the end was, but some people however have said, well, G4 was just going to fail anyway. It was only a matter of when. But I say, really? I mean, I get it, G4 revived in a very competitive gaming landscape, but I felt like if they planned their launch better, they would have at least had a shot to stabilize. I think chasing trends overall was what killed them, and if it were up to me, I just would have made different decisions just to ensure that gamers would have actually given the network a second chance. Get an affordable studio. Good God. Burbank, California, 60,000 square feet, $25 million. Why? What was the idea? They should have seen it coming. I know I would have. This looks like a place for a tech startup company. That industrial workplace theme and all. G4TV should have started out small and grew bigger. Instead, it started out big and died. Because they didn't have a plan for if and when business didn't grow. Truth be told, they didn't need a big lot. Viewers don't care about where the network is being shot at. We don't see the building, we don't work at the building, we don't care about the building. So there was no point to the building. If you need something large enough for a lot of people to work, why not just renovate an abandoned warehouse or something? And if you're worried about fans finding your location, simply don't have a big sign up that says G4. That's it. And you don't need $25 million to design the interior. Tape everything. What I mean is that live production is expensive, and I have no idea why they even attempted it. Not everything has to be live and connected to a chat box that nobody will read. Everything should have been pre-taped. The old X-Play was pre-taped. It's cheaper. You can edit out errors, you don't have to pay for a large production crew and equipment. You can cut corners and your content can still look really professional. All you need is one or two little studio spaces. Court Cam is one of A&E's most popular shows. All they really need a studio for is pre-taping the intro and outro that they recycle every single time. It's hilarious to think about, but it saves money. The host most of the time just narrates over each story as it plays out on screen. Yes, just like G4 was mainly game footage, Court Cam is mainly videos taped in court. So it doesn't have to be flashy. Acquire the rights to popular YouTube series. Some popular YouTubers were already a part of G4TV, and some of their YouTube series became shows on G4, such as Scott the Woz. But the problem is, none of the episodes they showed were new. I felt that if YouTubers could certainly draw in more fans if they were to produce never-before-seen episodes that only could be seen on G4. Because Scott was still uploading new episodes of his series on his own channel, not many of his viewers were willing to start watching him on G4. I know that the decision would be pro-network and anti-YouTuber, but making him a G4 staple would have benefited G4 more than just airing his old content and not making new content for the channel. And would that make for a substantial fan base? I think so. It would attract the fans of that YouTuber as well as fans that would be looking for high-quality gaming content. So hypothetically, lesser-known series like GameSack and Console Wars would have increased production and dedicated studio space to make them appealing to more gamers. In turn, that would give the personalities more exposure and wages doing what they love. Of course, these YouTubers would have to stop making new episodes for their own channels, but perhaps they could also redo older episodes and make updated versions just for G4. Give us must-see content. I remember when G4 would have people from the gaming industry, whether it's Tim Schafer, Peter Molyneux, and even Reggie himself. And they were in studio as well. It wasn't on a video call or over the phone. They were there in person. It would be on G4TV.com, yes, that was the name of one of their shows, or Attack of the Show, where developers would do an interview and talk about a broad variety of topics like the current game they're working on, whether their games would come to GameCube, the future in gaming, the games they want to work on, and so on. Even if I wasn't into certain games, I found G4 to be a neat treasure trove of newsworthy interviews that you couldn't find online. And I could see very little of that from this newer rendition of G4. You had Reggie, but retired Reggie, and not much else aside from the G4 hosts talking to one another, which I couldn't blame viewers if that didn't entertain them. That's not it, though. One thing I felt G4 should have produced were documentaries. Yes. I think it would have been interesting if they put together 1-2-hour specials of major happenings in the gaming industry. Console Wars on Paramount Plus is the big example to follow. It really blew up Nintendo and Sega as these entertainment powerhouses in the 90s. Do a biography on Reggie, for example, or John Romero, or talk about the downfall of Sega or what happened to Halo. There's a ton of interesting stories in gaming you can turn into must-see documentaries you can spend a night watching with some hot buttered popcorn. It's just shocking this was never apparently any discussion at the new G4, and instead they tried to go into esports. Make cable the priority. Wait, what? But cable is a dying medium. Gamers get their fix on YouTube and Twitch. Yes. I am aware. But in hindsight, what G4TV did to try to being on all these platforms at once did not help them in the end. Twitch and YouTube are trends, and that was their Achilles heel. They practically did the same things that everyone else did, only with more money to blow. They needed a lot of people to tune into their shows, and even if Froskuren didn't happen, I feel as if other live streams and on-demand videos would be competing with G4. Twitch and YouTube were a lot more interactive and in your face. It's like if you come across a G4 video or stream, gamers will go, "Oh well, I'll just watch this later." And then they never did. Cable, on the other hand, there's an urgency to it. It's just better for appointment viewing. If you miss a show, you miss it for good. That's what made TV big. It wasn't like you could watch the show online if you missed it. No. Make sure people actually tune in. This is how G4 would have gotten ratings, not huge numbers, but still decent numbers like 400 to 500,000. You can simply have YouTube videos advertising upcoming episodes. Tune in tonight at 8 for a new attack of the show. And gamers will listen, they will look for G4. Cable can be the medium where new episodes premiere for appointment viewing, and YouTube and Twitch could be a good supplement to that. Not only could they have uploaded individual segments just as game reviews from X-Play, steamy topics from Attack of the Show, it can also be a place for G4TV to upload classic content. Just like WWE. They have a super successful YouTube channel where they have over 90 million subscribers. They show highlights of their latest episodes, they show previews of upcoming episodes, and they also show off old content every now and then. So they have something interesting to show every now and then in order for G4 to be fresh in the minds of viewers. And it works. They still have one of the most watched programs on Monday and Friday nights. I mean, you had Xavier Woods on your payroll. You didn't bother to ask him about WWE's approach? So many fails with this. So, have new episodes on cable, don't upload them to YouTube or live stream them on Twitch, and have active video and social media channels to work cohesively with your cable network. And yes, while I know that gamers would like to stream older episodes of shows anytime they want, it would have been something they could have explored as time went on. And for gamers that don't have cable, they can still strike deals with Sling, Fubo and YouTube TV, so that at least should be smooth sailing. Keep the politics at home. This should go without saying, but I really feel like this has to be said because some people still have gotten it by now. When the executives want to push an agenda and the talent want to push an agenda, then producing gaming content just comes secondary. You've heard the story of the X-Play hostess and her rant against men, and that point right there gave G4 no hope to succeed. None. What's crazy is even with all that money on the line, they thought they could afford to do that. You have to realize that every viewer is not going to 100% agree with your worldview. Rather than a gamer channel for everyone, they made a gamer channel for gamers heavy into leftist politics. It alienated right-wing gamers, and left-wing gamers simply just chose something not as obnoxious to watch. Then you're just left with gaming SJWs, and clearly that wasn't enough to keep business afloat. Former OG G4TV technical director Chris Flynn worked on the network from 2006 to 2012. He came in with this hard-hitting comment. Our mandate was to fix the past? Hold on a second, our past needed to be fixed? We lasted 12 years, launched the careers of Olivia Munn and Chris Hardwick. You all crashed and burned in 11 months, and Frosk says she's leaving the business. How can you say we needed to be fixed? Boy howdy. So, Froskuren should have not been hired. There should have been red flags before taking the risk on her. And then Adam Sessler. He probably would have been fine if he was given a short leash. But yeah, this should really go without saying. Don't discriminate. And there we go. A cheaper G4, pre-taped, with a focus on exclusive content, primarily on cable, and with no politics, as it should be. Now whether this would succeed or not, we'll never know, but the chance was there, and it's not likely there will be another.